River card is a jack. Kristen Foxen has her first Poker Go Cup title.
Kristen Foxen walked into Elite Games without ego, without flash, and walked out, leaving hardened veterans second-guessing every single move. She didn't just win chips, she won minds. This is the story of how one woman mastered the art of poker psychology, one hand at a time. Born on December 29, 1986 in St. Catharines, Ontario, Kristen Foxen, known back then as Kristen Bicknell, didn't grow up in a quiet, ordinary household. She was raised alongside her parents, Pete and Nancy, and her sisters, Erica and Darlene, in a family where motorsports weren't just a hobby, they were a way of life. That environment shaped her from the very beginning. Competition wasn't something Kristen learned later, it was baked into her DNA. And if you want to understand where that fire came from, you have to start with her father. Pete Bicknell owned a race car building business and was a certified legend on the dirt track. Over the course of his career, he racked up more than 500 wins, and in 2003, he was inducted into the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame. Racing wasn't just his job, it was his obsession, and it became the backdrop to Kristen's entire childhood. Weekends weren't spent lounging around the house. They were spent at dusty tracks, engines roaring, surrounded by drivers who lived to win. And Kristen was in the middle of it all, racing go-karts, battling for position, and learning early what it meant to compete. Racing against boys taught her more than speed and control. It taught her to read competitors, anticipate moves, and manipulate outcomes. Every victory wasn't just physical, it was psychological practice that would later let her bend opponents' minds at the poker table. Different arena, same fight. By 2005, though, Kristen's life appeared to be headed in a much more traditional direction. She enrolled at Carleton University in Ottawa to study criminal justice. On paper, her future looked stable and predictable, but fate had other plans. This was the height of the mid-2000s poker boom. Online poker was exploding, and names like PokerStars and Full Tilt were everywhere. Still, Kristen's introduction to the game wasn't glamorous. It started casually, sitting around with friends who invited her to join a game. She didn't know the rules, she didn't have a strategy, she just said yes. That game stretched on for hours, and by the time it ended, something had clicked. What started as a way to pass time turned into a deep, almost obsessive fascination. Poker wasn't just luck, it was logic, psychology, discipline. It felt familiar, competitive, strategic, and Kristen wanted more. As she dove deeper into the game, she found inspiration in a face she recognized from television. Like many women entering poker during that era, she was drawn to Jennifer Harman on Poker After Dark. Harman wasn't just good, she was feared. A poker Hall of Famer who sat comfortably among the world's best, she proved that gender didn't matter when skill and nerve were involved. For Kristen, Harman wasn't just entertainment, she was a blueprint. Studying her play, her composure, and her fearlessness helped shape Kristen's own approach. Modeling herself after one of the greatest to ever do, it turned out to be a pivotal move. Kristen's real grind kicked off in 2006 when she truly dove into the online poker world. Like most future stars, she didn't start at the top. Under the screen names Chrissy B24 and Chrissy24, she played the low-stakes cash games on PokerStars and Full Tilt. Quietly and steadily, she began to build a reputation. She started at $1, $2, and $2, $4 tables, but the stakes were only part of the story. She wasn't just playing, she was learning how to control opponents before they even knew the hand had begun. Multi-tabling dozens of games was practice in reading patterns, spotting hesitation, and exploiting tiny tells that would later make elite pros second-guess every decision. Her first real breakthrough came in July 2006 when she finished 17th in a $300 buy-in PokerStars tournament, earning around $900. It wasn't life-changing money, but it was proof. Proof that this wasn't just a hobby. From there, the climb was steady and relentless. She moved up from $0.50, $1 games to $1, $2, then added $2, $4 into her rotation. To maximize volume and sharpen her decision-making, she sometimes played as many as 24 tables at once. It was exhausting, intense, and brutally demanding. But it worked. And then came the realization that changed everything. Imagine being a student and discovering you could earn a massive payday in a single day. More than most people make in months. Suddenly, lectures don't feel quite as urgent. Kristen was studying criminology, but poker was paying the bills. At first, she was earning around $30,000 a year, enough to stay afloat without a traditional job. But once she realized she could make over $120,000 a year by playing 8 focused hours a day, the decision became clear. She walked away from university just 2 classes short of her degree and went all in on poker. Between 2011 and 2013, Kristen was grinding through over 2.5 million hands a year on PokerStars alone. All that volume earned her Supernova Elite status, which back then was basically the highest badge of honor in online poker. Only the most disciplined, borderline obsessive players ever got there. But her real arrival moment came in 2013, when she headed to Las Vegas and bought into the $1,000 WSOP Ladies Championship. Nearly 1,000 players showed up, all chasing the same dream. By the time the dust settled, Kristen stood alone at the top, winning her first gold bracelet and nearly $174,000. It wasn't just a tournament win, it was a declaration. From that point on, she was no longer just a promising online grinder, she was a serious professional. Instead of celebrating and slowing down, Kristen leaned into the grind. She transitioned more heavily into live poker, fully aware of how demanding the game could be. She understood poker as a mental sport, one that rewarded discipline, focus, and constant adaptation. That mindset became the foundation of her success. While others relied on emotion or intimidation, Kristen built her edge through preparation. She studied relentlessly, reviewed hands, tracked trends, and stayed ahead of the game's constant evolution. At the table, she controlled the room without saying a word. Her calm posture, hoodie, and clear sunglasses weren't just style. They were weapons. Opponents felt her eyes even behind the shades, hesitated on bets, and questioned hands they normally played confidently. Every fold, every check, every call became part of a silent psychological assault. Her style was aggressive, yet controlled, flexible, yet precise. She could shift gears instantly, adapting to any opponent, any format, any pressure situation. That adaptability paid off again in 2016, when she captured her second WSOP bracelet in the $1,500 Bounty No Limit Hold'em event, and she systematically dismantled opponents' confidence, forcing seasoned players to second-guess hands, bluffs, and even basic strategies. By the end, the table wasn't just losing chips, they were losing certainty. Kristen Foxen didn't just win, she rewrote how the game felt to her opponents. By 2017, she was unstoppable. Tournament after tournament, she piled up deep runs and big finishes, earning more GPI points than any other female player in the world. That year ended with her being named GPI Female Player of the Year, capped off by a major WPT victory in Las Vegas. The momentum didn't fade in 2018. She took her game overseas, crushing high rollers in Macau, then returned to Vegas and continued stacking 6-figure scores with remarkable consistency. Then came 2019, the year that fully separated her from the pack. Kristen was everywhere, winning big money on multiple continents. She dominated elite fields at the PCA, the Aussie Millions, Party Poker Live, and finally delivered the biggest score of her career at the Poker Masters, winning a $25,000 high roller for over $400,000. Another GPI Player of the Year award followed, confirming what everyone already knew. She wasn't just great, she was elite. When the live poker world shut down in 2020, many players struggled to adjust. Kristen didn't. She moved seamlessly online and captured her third WSOP bracelet in a shorthanded event, proving her skill translated perfectly across formats. By 2023, history came calling. Kristen won her 4th WSOP bracelet, becoming the first woman ever to reach that milestone. And somehow, it felt almost expected. That's how high the standard had become. But 2024 was something different. That year felt like a statement season. She opened strong on the Poker Go Tour, delivered multiple high-stakes finishes, and entered the World Series of Poker in peak form. While she didn't reach a final table that summer, she cashed 10 times, quietly showing just how hard it is to knock her out. Then came the WSOP main event, the tournament every poker player dreams about. Kristen navigated a field of over 10,000 players with precision and composure, steadily climbing the leaderboard day after day. By day 5, she was among the final few dozen. By day 7, she was sitting 5th in chips with 3 tables left. The poker world rallied behind her. Fans, pros, legends, everyone sensed history was close. Her run ended in 13th place, just shy of the final table. It was heartbreaking, exhausting, and surreal. But finishing 13th in the largest main event ever played wasn't a failure. It was one of the greatest performances the tournament had seen in decades, and she walked away with $600,000 and universal respect. The response to that run only fueled her further. Just months later, she secured her 5th WSOP bracelet online, officially becoming the most decorated woman in WSOP history. That same year, she was inducted into the Women in Poker Hall of Fame, her legacy now undeniable. Instead of slowing down, she accelerated. In 2025, Kristen caught fire on the Poker Go Tour, winning multiple titles in stacked fields filled with the best players on the planet. She climbed to the top of the PGT leaderboard, once again proving her consistency at the highest stakes. Then, in September 2025, she delivered the most lucrative result of her career at the Triton Super High Roller Series. Facing 2 of the toughest players in the world, as the shortest stack, she bent the table to her will. Every bet and raise was calibrated to sow doubt, provoke mistakes, and force them into uncomfortable decisions. By the time she finished 3rd for over $1.1 million, the real victory wasn't just the chips, it was the mental edge she had carved into every opponent. It was her first 7-figure live score, and the moment she officially became the highest-earning woman in poker history. Today, Kristen Foxen's career earnings exceed $12 million, and the numbers only tell part of the story.